Cactus is a good emergency food.
Well, yeah, we were supposed to try that too.
We were. There's just not enough time in this course.
I know.
We need a whole day of just tasting and
Trying different things.
trying different things. So how do you prepare the cactus?
Like must have been 4 years ago, the weather was just perfect for these guys, eh? Geez, I come over here and these guys were just loaded with friggin' flowers, eh?
Oh, that's beautiful.
The yellow flowers just this year none, last year none, the year before that just friggin' loaded, eh? But they're an emergency food. I think you just take them just like that and throw them into a fire, and the seed, and when you can pull them apart and you eat the inside. Or you can pull these guys all off, throw them into water and boil them, I guess, and get the same result, eh? But if any of you guys that are perhaps interested in textiles or coloring things or something like that, the juice from this is a fixer of color.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's good to know.
So if you got huckleberries and a white shirt and you want to get the huckleberry color, well, you can make the juice and put the color into the shirt, and then you take some of this juice, and I guess you take this juice and add it to your coloring. But if you got the huckleberry juice, then you could add some of this to the juice, and then you put your white shirt in there, and it fixes the color, so when you go and wash it, it won't come out.
Huh, okay.
So that's the funny thing about this plant. And it's a food. Yeah. And it also hurts when they stick into you.
Yes, and they jump up at you sometimes.
Yes, they jump too. They have the capability of jumping.
They see.
I'm surprised you don't have lots of Indian rice around here, considering how sandy it is.
Yeah, this would be a good place to grow asparagus. Like if I had my brothers, I'd like to get this whole thing flattened right out and spread the topsoil over the whole thing and put a fence around and put a line down the middle, and this side could be asparagus and that side could be peanuts.
Peanuts?
Peanuts, yeah, you plant peanuts in the ground.
Yeah, I know
And
that.
they like this.
Season's not long enough here, though, is it?
No, they like they'll grow.
Huh?
They like this kind of soil. They like the soil that you can water and it goes right through. So does the asparagus. They like to get watered and the water go through.
Right.
They don't like to be sitting in it. You guys all know what a lamb's quarters is, right?
Yeah.
Lamb's quarters. Lamb's quarters is a food.
It's not native, though.
But in the springtime when it's in the garden and they're like that big, I remember going out and chop, and you get a big pot full and then bring them in and have them for dinner. Lamb's quarters. My great grandma used to cook it all the time. Now these guys are gone to seed, and they're little because they're so not much water around here. And another plant that we disregard a lot is the alfalfa, because we don't think it's on the side of the road. It's no goody. No, it's a very powerful plant, alfalfa. You can actually go and take some leaves off the alfalfa and dry it. And if you need vitamins and minerals stuff, you can make a tea out of it. Alfalfa, and it's got lots of minerals, lots of nutrients in it.
It's a woman's herb too.
What's the name of the plant that looks like portulaca, and it's a weed that grows in the garden? It's like
I know what you mean. We have quite a bit of it down at the nursery.
I always forget the name of it. There's a couple of plants I have a problem with remembering, and that's one of them. And I look it up and I gotta remember it. I can't remember it.
The only bad thing about alfalfa is that it's encroaching onto our native grasslands. So when we do restoration work, we actually pull it out.
Yeah. Well, I grow it on my hayfield because that's what brings me a cow.
Yeah, well, that's right.
It feeds.
And that's why it was first brought here, right?
It feeds my family. I water the hayfield, and the Thomas boys come along and cut the hay, and they take the hay away, and eventually they give me a cow. And there's the fire. I ran all over that hillside looking for morels and got the fire.
So is that mostly Saskatoons that have come back after the fire?
Well, there's all kinds of stuff there. Saskatoons, willows, and...
Arnica? Arnica?
Yeah, there's some in there.
Yeah.
It's arnica all over the place. That's really
Yeah.
yellow flowers all over.
Yeah.
I don't use that much.
Oh, that's supposed to be really good for bruises and cuts.
I don't, little things like that don't bother me, so I don't play around with them. I never use those. Like I know some people that use them because they go and make the salve, and you can use the
Make a little arnica oil.
goldenrod and
Yeah.
make a salve and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You got time to make salves and stuff. I'm busy. You don't want to make salve, go find somebody who.
We make cottonwood salve and we make arnica oil.
I know how, and I've done it in the past, but if we have a sickness, we can heal them.
Yeah.
Remember I was telling you guys about knapweed being an astringent. Like if you're out somewhere and you get a cut and it don't stop bleeding, you can take like this is obviously too far gone now, but any of the greens you can, if these was green, you could take that like that and put it on the movement and it'll stop the bleeding. So there is something good about the knapweed. So you look at this flat here, just loaded with wild tarragon, eh?
Yeah,
All that green stuff is wild tarragon. These is where I come and harvest my wild tarragon from. And I harvest it here year after year after year, and the more I harvest, the more it grows and bigger. Some years, this year was not so, because the water was
Yeah, it's been a
scarce,
dry
eh?
year.
So it was short wild tarragon. I come and I harvest them twice, I'm done with them. Like when I went and harvested the stinging nettle when it's that tall in July, I went about the middle of July, and they were that tall, and probably, I don't know, next week for sure, one day I gotta go back, I'll be going back to the same spot and harvesting the stinging nettle a second time, and I'm sure it'll be that tall again.
Wow.
Because every year I go in there and I go, well, not like that, but I was telling you guys, collect it, and then I go back in August and I do the same thing, and I wish I could just go doodle-doodle and contact Merlin and he could put it there for me, but Merlin hasn't cooperated with me so 100% yet. So. It's empty. What is it?
That's stiff needle grass.
Stiff needle? Oh, that's that. And that sometimes is not here and then it's here? And
Yeah, it's a secular, it's like depending on the climate. Up at the Seton Flat there's a whole big open area similar to this, and we used to collect up there just the blue bunch wheatgrass. And then one year we went up there and the whole field was just covered with stiff needle and needle and thread grass. And then the next year just a little bit, and then nothing, and then it all comes back again. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Nice grass.
The one I want to watch is this guy. What's the proper name for these guys?
Cheatgrass.
Foxtails. What is it?
That's cheatgrass. That's invasive. It's wrecking our grasslands.
I know it bothers my dogs too.
It gets stuck into it.
It goes in there, eh? You gotta pull them out. Bad stuff.
So that grass you are showing us, is it used for anything?
I don't know. That's like a lot of the grasses. They don't seem to have any literature that I've read about the grasses, except for the giant wild rye.
There's some stuff. If you go and check out Tate's stuff that he left behind. There's stuff in there about the grasses and the mosses and the lichens. And
Yeah,
the whole
mosses
thing.
and lichens.
You use, like I only use a certain amount of plants. I can identify a lot of plants, but I probably use, I don't know, 50.
50, yeah.
50.
Yeah, and that's how you kind of get used to how to...
And that's for pretty much all the sicknesses that are around that can be covered. Like the last time I had an aspirin, I was 33 years old, and I had gone out and I had a kaboom, ba-boom, 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 ba headache, and I had an aspirin. That was 33 years ago, no more aspirins.
So what part of the willow do you use for when you want to make a pain relief?
Well, there's the trembling aspen right there. Eh? The inner bark of this trembling aspen is yarrow. And the green willows and the red willows, the inner bark of them is all acid.
So how do you
Those
use that?
guys, I usually cut it off and pull the whole chunk off, and then you got to scrape the inner bark off.
Right. So it's that kind of soft cambium layer.
It's not an easy thing to do.
No.
That's why I use yarrow. It's much simpler to acquire.
Right.
So you go around, cut flowers off, and there's your aspen instead of doing this process. The big thing with the aspen is for if you have young children and they haven't gone, like if they're little yet, they're not past puberty. When in the springtime, you go to the trembling aspen and you grab the stem on them. Well, again, your hands just turn white and yellow, whitish yellow. And the little kids, they could, if the girls, they could do that and rub it under their arms, on their legs, wherever you don't want hair to grow. And
Which one was it? This one?
yeah, trembling aspen.
If you don't want to.
That's the one.
Yeah, you rub that
That's the one.
on your arms, on here, under your arms,
Hey.
wherever you don't want hair. In
Where
the
you don't want hair to
springtime-
grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the springtime,
That's what my grandma said.
the springtime you put that stuff on. Because in the spring it's just oozing off of there. You just load it. You just touch. You
So
rub
it's
up
all
against
that.
it and leaves a
It's
mark
kind
on
of like the sap that comes out of them. It's kind of blackish looking.
it. No, it's just
No,
it's white.
it's
white
white powder.
It's like a
Just
powder.
the powder
Oh, white powder on the
Yeah.
bark.
on the bark.
And the trembling aspen is called trembling aspen because when you look at the stem of the aspen, the needle and the leaf is here. The stem this way is narrow. It's really narrow. But if you look at it from the side, the stem is really thick. So it's just that thickness and the thinness this way. Any little breeze and that thing just wobbles like that.
It's beautiful.
Trembling aspen. Populus tremuloides. I don't know what we call it in Latin. I'm not versed on it.
We need a cheat sheet.
I didn't get it punched.
I didn't bring a cheat sheet.
I didn't get it punched in.
Did we did someone bring the book because that little the duotangs that I brought because it has stat names
Yeah,
for some.
in the
Okay.
trembling aspen. I
Might have
remember
it.
that.
Yeah, trembling aspen for the little children before puberty.
Yeah.
Once
yeah.
they hit puberty, it's too late.